You know that feeling. You wake up and 5 minutes later, your whole day is already going sideways. Spilled coffee and nasty email, gridlock traffic. It feels like the entire universe is conspiring against you. But what if I told you there's a simple mental switch that can change all of it? And that switch is just one phrase, a single quote, coined almost 2,000 years ago. Sounds too simple to be true. Stick with me, and I'll show you how the wisdom of the ancient Stoics can radically transform not just your mood, but your entire day. You'll be surprised at the power hidden in just a few words. I guarantee that by the end of this video, you'll look at your problems through a completely different lens. Before we dive into the quote itself, let's quickly clarify who these Stoics actually were. No, they weren't emotionless statues, as many people mistakenly believe. Imagine people living in the chaotic and often brutal world of ancient Greece and Rome. Their ranks included slaves like Epictetus, imperial advisors like Seneca, and even the emperor himself, Marcus Aurelius. What united them? They were searching for a way to live a good, meaningful, and tranquil life, despite the external chaos. Stoicism isn't some obscure philosophy meant only for libraries. It's a practical operating manual for life. Their core idea is brilliantly simple. We cannot control the events around us, the weather, other people, the economy, but we have 100% control over what happens inside us, our thoughts, our judgments, and our reactions. And it is precisely this internal control that holds the key to tranquility and strength. The quote we'll be focusing on, the tool for our work today, is this one. It comes from Epictetus, the former slave who rose to become one of history's greatest philosophers. It's simple, but profound. Remember it. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the view which they take of them. Let's reiterate this crucial point. Events themselves don't make us miserable. It's what we believe about those events. Now, on the surface, this might sound completely obvious. Duh, it's all in your head. But the critical difference, the real secret sauce, is not just knowing this, but applying it actively every single minute. This phrase isn't just an abstract idea. It's a practical, actionable filter you can apply to any situation. It effectively splits reality into two parts: what actually happened and the thick layer of stories, emotions, and catastrophic predictions that we pile on top of it. The Stoics challenge us to become surgeons of reality, to precisely and deliberately separate those two layers. And today, we are going to learn exactly how to perform that operation. Let's start first thing in the morning. Picture this classic scenario. You spill a cup of hot coffee all over your clean shirt. What's your immediate gut reaction? Most likely, it's a flash of anger, pure frustration, followed by that stream of thoughts. Great, the day is already ruined. I messed everything up. I'm definitely going to be late. Hold on. Let's apply our principle here. What actually happened? The fact is, brown liquid hit the fabric. That's it. That is the objective reality. But a horrible start to the day. I'm a disaster. Everything has gone wrong. Those are just your perceptions of the event. That's the narrative you're telling yourself. Coffee is just coffee. A shirt is just fabric. Being late is a probable outcome, not some cosmic catastrophe. See the difference? The event is neutral. You are the one applying the emotional weight. And this is the first, crucial point where you can seize control. Now let's tackle the second half of the equation, our reaction. When you say, that event made me angry, you are essentially handing over the remote control of your emotions to the external world, to the spilled coffee, the driver who cut you off, or the careless comment from a colleague. You become a puppet of circumstance. Stoicism, however, returns that remote to you. It teaches that between the event and your reaction, there is a gap, a tiny moment where you can make a choice, a conscious choice. Instead of an automatic burst of anger over a stain, you can take a breath and tell yourself, okay, my shirt is stained. That's annoying. What can I do about it right now? You shift the focus from the emotional drama to the practical solution. This is the very freedom the Stoics speak of. the freedom to choose your response rather than being enslaved by it, and that freedom is available to you at any moment. All right, coffee is done. We head out, get in the car, and immediately hit heavy traffic. What's the standard reaction? Frustration, nervous tapping on the steering wheel, constantly checking the clock. The internal monologue is screaming, "I'm going to be late! My boss is going to kill me! Why today of all days?" We have once again fallen into the trap of our perceptions. Let's apply the Epictetus filter. What is the objective fact? The cars in front of you are moving slowly. That's it. It's just a physical process. But I'm going to be late. That's just a prediction. My boss will be furious. That is your fantasy about the future and about someone else's mind. This terrible traffic jam, that's your emotional assessment. Instead of torturing yourself with these perceptions, what can you actually do? You cannot make the cars move faster. That is outside of your control. But you can control how you spend this time. What if this traffic jam isn't lost time, but an unexpected gift? That's exactly right. It's a gift. Instead of fighting a reality you cannot change, you can choose to embrace it and leverage it. Stuck in traffic? Perfect. That's 20 minutes you can finally spend listening to an interesting podcast or catching up on that audiobook you never had time for. You could call your parents or a friend you haven't spoken to in ages. Or you could simply sit in silence, breathe deeply, and tune into the day ahead. The traffic jam transforms from a source of stress into an opportunity. Do you see how this mental shift works? The event itself, the slow crawl of cars, hasn't changed at all. What changed was your perception of it, and once your perception shifted, your emotions followed suit. Irritation and stress gave way to calmness and the constructive use of your time. You just reclaimed a piece of your day from the chaos. You get to work. You open your inbox and see a message from your boss marked urgent. It's a critique of your work from yesterday, demanding that you redo the entire thing. Your heart immediately starts racing, and you get that sick feeling in your stomach. The first thoughts rush in. I'm going to be fired. I'm totally incompetent. He hates me. This is again an automatic reaction based purely on our fears and assumptions. Let's hit the pause button and apply the principle we've been discussing. What is the verifiable fact here? Your boss didn't like the outcome of the project and asked you to change it. Full stop. That is the entirety of the objective information available to you. But I'm going to be fired is a catastrophic scenario that you have manufactured. I'm totally incompetent is a painful overgeneralization made based on a single instance. And he hates me is an attempt to read another person's mind, which is fundamentally impossible. All of these thoughts are just noise. By separating the facts from all that emotional noise, you gain immediate clarity. The problem stops being a cosmic catastrophe and transforms into a specific, manageable task. The task is simple. I need to understand exactly what the manager disliked and make the necessary revisions. That's it. No drama. You can calmly approach them and ask clarifying questions. You can analyze your mistakes and improve your work next time. By employing a Stoic mindset, you avoid wasting mental energy on panic or self-recrimination. Instead, you direct all that energy toward finding a solution to the actual problem. This makes you not only calmer, but significantly more effective. People who resist panic and instead solve problems calmly and methodically are your most valuable employees and your most reliable partners. And this crucial skill starts with the simple ability to separate facts from perceptions. The Stoics often employed the metaphor of the inner citadel. Imagine your mind as an impenetrable fortress. The external world may rage around you. Torrents of criticism might fall, winds of failure might blow, and the thunder of other people's anger might crash, but none of it can breach your citadel unless you choose to open the gates yourself. And what are those gates? They are your perceptions and judgments. When you decide your boss's criticism is a catastrophe, you fling those gates wide open and invite the enemy, panic and fear, inside. When you determine that traffic is terrible, You voluntarily let irritation rush in. Epictetus' famous quote acts as your gatekeeper. Every time an external event approaches your fortress, that guard asks, "Are you the thing itself, or merely an impression?" And if it is merely an impression, the guard refuses to let it pass. Building a fortress like this takes consistent effort. It is exactly like training a muscle at the gym. Every time you consciously apply this mindset to a minor nuisance, spilled coffee, traffic gridlock, or a rude cashier, you complete one rep. You are strengthening your muscle of resilience. It takes effort at first. Your brain, by habit, will want to revert back to those automatic negative reactions. But with every repetition, that crucial pause between the trigger and your reaction will grow longer. It will become easier to catch yourself spiraling into unnecessary drama, allowing you to quickly pull yourself back to reality. Then, when a truly serious problem hits, because life ensures they hit everyone eventually, your internal fortress will already be solid. Your muscle will be fully trained, allowing you to meet the impact not with panic, but with calm, steadfast resolve. These small, daily practice sessions are what truly prepare you for the major battles of life. Let's move on to another very common issue, dealing with difficult people. We all have that one colleague, relative, or acquaintance who can completely throw us off balance with a single word or action. Imagine this scenario. You're in a meeting and a colleague starts criticizing your idea in front of everyone, and they do it in a particularly snide way. What's the immediate internal reaction? Hurt, anger, and the burning desire to fire back with an equally sharp retort. Your mind races. How dare they? Or, they must be trying to deliberately undermine me. Suddenly, your entire day is ruined, and you spend the whole evening replaying that terrible dialogue in your head. Now let's try to look at this through a Stoic lens. Here is the undeniable fact. Another person spoke words that you chose to interpret as criticism. His motives, his true intentions, his inner world, all of that belongs entirely in his universe, completely outside of your control. You cannot force him to be kinder, nicer, or more tactful. Think of his behaviour like bad weather. It simply exists. You don't scream at the clouds for bringing the rain, do you? So why spend all that energy getting angry over someone else's actions, especially when you can't control them anyway? The only thing you truly have control over is your interpretation of their words and your subsequent reaction. You could choose to get offended and let it completely ruin your day, or you could choose a different response. For example, you could treat their words as feedback, even if it was delivered poorly. Maybe there's a kernel of truth in their criticism. Alternatively, you might see it as a manifestation of their own problems and insecurity, allowing you to feel compassion instead of anger. Or you can simply ignore it entirely, deciding that it's not worth sacrificing your peace of mind. Either way, the choice is always yours. You are not a victim of their words. You are the master of your own response. It is crucial to understand this one point. Stoicism is absolutely not the same thing as toxic positivity. You don't have to pretend everything is wonderful when it clearly isn't. If you spill your coffee, that's genuinely annoying. If your boss criticizes you, that can be painful. Stoics do not advocate suppressing your emotions or looking at the world through rose-tinted glasses. They advocate for something different, a clear, sober assessment of reality. They say, acknowledge your initial, involuntary reactions. Yes, I'm annoyed. Yes, I'm upset. But do not allow these first feelings to escalate into what they call the second wave of emotions: panic, despair, or self-pity. Do not build an entire theory about the universe being against you based on a single setback. Stoicism is realism in its purest and best form. It teaches you to see things exactly as they are, without exaggeration or dramatization. It's not about think positive, it's about think clearly. The difference between the Stoic approach and toxic positivity is enormous. Toxic positivity forces you to completely ignore the issue. It says things like, "You got fired, don't sweat it, it's a blessing in disguise." Stoicism, on the other hand, speaks the truth. You were fired, that's reality. It hurts. Acknowledge the pain. Now let's identify what is within your control. Updating your resume, searching for new listings, acquiring new skills. That is where we focus our energy. Stoicism doesn't deny the pain. It simply refuses to let that pain consume your entire life. It helps you localize the fire rather than pretending the house isn't burning. This level of honesty, both with yourself and the world, is incredibly liberating. You stop wasting precious energy fighting against reality, and instead, you start working with it. And one simple quote from Epictetus can serve as your daily reminder of this strong, clear-headed approach to life. Now for the really interesting part, the domino effect. When you change your reaction, you influence not just your own state of mind, but everyone around you. Imagine giving stinging criticism, and instead of blowing up, your colleague responds calmly and confidently. "Thank you for the feedback. I'll take some time to think that over." What would your reaction be then? Chances are your heat would die down quickly. Aggression often expects aggression in return, and when it doesn't get it, it simply fizzles out. Or, let's go back to the situation with your boss. If, instead of panicking and making excuses, you approach them with constructive questions and a genuine willingness to fix your mistakes, their attitude towards you will almost certainly change. They won't see you as a problem. They'll see a reliable person who is capable of dealing with difficult situations. Your calm is contagious. It can instantly diffuse a tense environment and steer the dialogue onto a constructive path. By changing your inner world, you subtly and powerfully begin to change the world around you. Think of this quote as your mental reset button. Anytime throughout the day, if you feel your emotions starting to overwhelm you, or if you find yourself spiraling into negativity, just pause for a second. Take a breath, and silently repeat this phrase. "It's not the situation that bothers me, but my judgment of it." It acts like a snap of the fingers that pulls you right out of a trance. It instantly creates distance between you and the problem. You stop being a participant in the drama and become its observer instead. From this vantage point, it's much easier to assess the situation clearly. What actually happened? What part of this can I control? What is the most rational next step? This simple practice, which takes only a few seconds, can prevent hours of unnecessary worry, impulsive decisions, and ruined moods. Think of it as your personal control, Alt-Delete for stress. For this tool to actually work, you have to turn it into a habit. It's not enough just to know the quote. It needs to surface in your mind right when you need it. How do you achieve that level of instant recall? It's simple. Start your day with it. The moment you wake up, make remembering that phrase the very first thing you do. Write it on a sticky note and put it on your bathroom mirror, your computer monitor, or set it as your phone's lock screen. The more often you see it, the faster your brain will internalize it. Give yourself a small challenge. For one entire day, try to run every minor annoyance through this Stoic filter. Did you fail? No big deal. Try again. This is training. Initially, you might only remember the quote after you've already exploded in anger, but eventually you will learn to catch yourself earlier and earlier until you can finally intervene before that negative emotion even has a chance to overwhelm you. The rewards of this simple practice stretch far beyond having just a single good day. As you consistently train yourself, day after day, to separate facts from your interpretations, you gradually build what psychologists call true resilience. You become far less vulnerable to life's unexpected storms. Petty problems cease to bother you entirely, and you face the major ones with a cool head and a clear action plan. You begin to understand where your energy truly belongs and what is merely background noise. This naturally leads to a dramatic drop in your overall stress and anxiety levels. You become calmer, more self-assured, and consequently happier. Because happiness, as the Stoics taught, is not merely the result of favourable external circumstances. It is the result of internal order and harmony that you consciously build within yourself. And all of this can start with one simple phrase. The concept of distinguishing between what is within our control and what is not is absolutely central to Stoicism. But that's not the only powerful maxim that can serve as a practical tool. Take Seneca, for instance, who said, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." This particular phrase is the perfect antidote to procrastination. When faced with a huge, intimidating task, your inner voice might tell you, "This is too complicated. I can't handle it." This mindset immediately paralyzes you. But applying Seneca's wisdom reveals that the complexity exists only in your mind, right up until the moment you begin to act. As soon as you take that first tiny step, the task stops being a frightening monolith and breaks down into clear, manageable stages. Stoic wisdom is truly universal, offering practical tools and frameworks for nearly every situation life throws at us. The key is finding the specific phrase that truly resonates with your current needs right now. Now that we've grasped the full power of this approach, it's time to put it into practice. I want to propose a simple experiment for you, just one day. Starting tomorrow morning, try living your entire day using Epictetus's quote as your main guiding principle. It is not what happens that disturbs us, but our judgment about it. Every time something goes wrong, stop and ask yourself, what here is the actual fact, and what is merely my story about that fact? What can I control in this situation, and what is completely outside my influence? Simply observe your reactions. Watch how your entire state of being changes when you stop pouring your energy into things you absolutely cannot affect. Don't aim for perfection. Just give it a try. This doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of your focused attention. I am almost certain that by the end of the day, you will notice a difference. You will feel a little calmer, a little stronger, and a little bit freer. And that, right there, is a massive victory. In conclusion, we realize that one simple quote is much more than just pretty words. It is a key that opens the door to an entirely different way of perceiving reality. It teaches us the most vital skill in life, the ability to manage our own minds. Instead of being a piece of driftwood tossed about by the waves of external events, you become the captain of your own ship. You cannot control the storm, but you can control the sails. Spilled coffee, traffic jams, criticism from your boss, a snarky colleague, these are all just waves. They come and go. Your inner citadel, your calmness, your ability to think clearly and act decisively, that is your ship, and it will stay afloat no matter the weather. And all you need to do is remember one simple rule. Events do not shape our lives, our reactions to them do. This is the core secret of the Stoics, a truth that has worked for 2,000 years. So just like that, a single thought, a simple phrase, can serve as your personal mental resilience coach. It won't change the world around you, but it can change the world within you. And ultimately, that's the only thing that truly matters. Remember, the powerful Stoic principle. People are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. This is a simple, yet incredibly powerful tool that is always with you. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future doses of practical wisdom. Now here's a question for you. What quote or thought helps you cope with the difficulties in life? Share your wisdom in the comments below. Let's build a whole library of helpful ideas together. I'm really looking forward to reading them. Good luck with your Stoic experiment,